Assalamualaikum, very good morning. Okay, our next topic for today, okay, for this subject, motor control training, okay, is on demonstration and verbal instruction. So basically, when you involve with skill acquisition or during coaching process, okay, the coach, before they start the training session, the coach usually will provide information. Okay, what are the skills that are going to be learned today? What are the tactics that are going to be learned today? And what are the formation that the team will implement during the skill training on that particular day. So basically, okay, we as a coaches, or when you become a coaches, or when you become a coach, or you become instructors later on in any discipline, okay, you need to provide some demonstration, and then you also need to provide some instruction, okay, to your learners in order for them to acquire the basic information, or in order for them to acquire skill learning, okay, that will be given by you, and then hopefully the learners can learn some information that is very beneficial for the training session on that particular day. So our topic for today once again is on demonstration and verbal instruction. Right, the concept: effective methods of providing instruction for helping a person to learn motor skills depend on the skill and the instructional goals. So this is the characteristic of demonstration. Demonstration refers to an instructional strategy that encourages observational learning, okay, which is, okay, you provide some movement, or you provide some information that relates to movement performance that the observer will observe from your skill performance, and then hopefully they will learn something from their direct observation. So there is demonstration, okay, for example. Okay, for this slide, okay, the terms that are used interchangeably with demonstration, okay, for example, modeling and also observational learning. Okay, try to answer the question that is listed on the slide, and then try to put on your notes, for example, how to relate demonstration with modeling and also observational learning in the first place. Okay, what does the observer perceive from a demonstration? So basically, when you provide some demonstration, okay, your learners or your participants, okay, this can be regarded as observer. So basically, they will perceive the invariant features of the corrected movement pattern to develop their own movement pattern to perform the skill. Alright, when you perform some skill movement, okay, you will move your arms, you will move your shoulder, your head, for example. The observer will take a closer look, okay, on that movement pattern, and then they try to imitate, they try to follow, so that they can develop their own movement pattern to perform the skill correctly, to perform the skill effectively. So based on this demonstration principle, for example, okay, if you are going to perform that demonstration, okay, at the first place, you as the demonstrator should perform the skill correctly, okay, because of the observer perceive the invariant features or move patterns of a demonstrated skill. Okay, this pattern will be observed only with a correctly performed skill. So that's why to become a coach, for example, you have to be qualified, okay, with certain certification. By that certification only, and then you know how to provide effective coaching information, okay, to your skill learners and so on. So during this demonstration, okay, the observer also perceive information about the strategy used by the model to solve movement problems. Okay, let's say you're going to demonstrate a skill, okay, of doing instant kick in football. Okay, the observer will observe how far you take step backward, for example. Either you take 3 steps backwards, okay, either you take 5 steps backward, for example, in order for them to observe, okay, what is your approach distance, okay, approach angle, and how many steps that you took, for example, in order for you before you approach to the ball, for example. Okay, when you move further, or when you move towards the object, which is here is the ball, okay, what is your speed of your movement? Okay, how does you connect your lower limb muscle with your arms, hand, for example, that involve under your upper limb muscle? How does this move pattern that performed by the demonstrator? So this information, okay, will be observed carefully, okay, by your participants, so that they can also use your strategy, okay, to solve movement problems. Okay, for example. Right. You can read through this information from the slide. Okay, can novice benefit from observing other novice? For example, okay, this you have done. Okay, the training before this. For example, when you become a novice. Okay, before this. Okay, when you involve in any skill that you involve with your coaches during your early stage of learning. So hopefully you can read through on this slide and try to relate from the textbook. How does a person which is a novice can observe other novice in terms of improving their skill performance. Timing and frequency of demonstrating a skill. When and how frequently should a demonstration be given? So basically, demonstration should be given before you start with the practice session. So instructor should continue to demonstrate during practice as frequently as necessary. When, for example, when you observe that your learners doing some mistake. So maybe you can stop the learning progress in the session, stop for a while, and then you start doing some demonstration again and again, so that you as instructor can provide the most beneficial information to your learners, so that they can observe the skill performance that is performed by you as the coach. For example. So how does when the observer observe the skill instruction, the skill information, the skill demonstration by the coach, for example, can influence the learning of the skill. So based on Bandura, which is on the cognitive mediation theory of modeling and social learning, when a person observes a model, they translate the observed movement information into symbolic memory code that forms the basis of stored representation in memory and used when the observer performs the skill. Class, now relates back your information regarding memory. We have short-term memory. We also have the long-term memory information. So when you want to store information, you will transfer from the short-term memory into the long-term memory, that is stored under the procedural memory, which is stored all information regarding how to perform the skill. So whenever you want to perform the same skill, you just retrace it back under your long-term memory, and then you transfer into your short-term memory, and then so that way you can relate with the current environmental features, and then you can know how to perform the skill over and over again. So these are relating to the cognitive mediation theory, for example. Alright, this slide, I hope all of you can read through on your own and try to give some notes regarding attention process, retention process, behavior reproduction process, and motivation process that involve with observational learning. For example. Alright, what happens actually when you observe a demonstration? Based on these authors, view of visual perception, the visual system is capable of automatically processing the observed movement in a way that constrains the motor control system to act accordingly, so that the person does not need to engage in cognitive mediation. So it means that when you observe a movement, you straight away can imitate the skill as what demonstrated by the instructor, coach, and so on. So these are the dynamic view of modeling based on visual perception. For example. Last one, I'm going to talk about when you have done your demonstration. With that, you also want to give some instruction. Basically, instruction you give on verbally. So that also relates to the cues on how to perform the skill correctly. So verbal instructions run with demonstration as commonly used means of communicating how to perform motor skill. So these are some factors that are important for developing effective verbal instruction. The first one is regarding amount of verbal instruction and attention demand. So you as a coach, you should know how much information that you need to provide to your learners, because of this will affect their attention demand. If you provide so many information that the learners need to process, maybe the attention demand will be limited, for example. So you also can focus on movement outcome, for example, action effect hypothesis. If you perform short serve in badminton like this, your shuttlecock will go over the net. So these are referring to action effect hypothesis, and the shuttlecock will land directly to your target. So these are regarding the terms that we call as action effect hypothesis. Means that you try to give some prediction. Okay, you try to anticipate what will occur based on your action. Okay, for example, okay, focus attention on environmental context, regulatory conditions. Okay, we have discussed before this regarding RC. Look, okay, to the height of the ball. Okay, look to the speed of the ball. Okay, look to the angle that the ball will come to you. So these are regarding RC. Then give verbal instruction that influence goal achievement strategies. Okay, how to provide a very good skill, okay, that will achieve the target, that will achieve the objective of motor skill learning. And then last but not least, okay, for this topic, for example, based on verbal instruction cues, verbal cues should be short, concise phrases that direct attention to the purpose. Okay, for example, if you want to hit the ball very accurately, okay, try to control your movement pattern. Okay, for example. Alright, thank you guys for listening. So basically, these chapters regarding demonstration and verbal instruction talks about how you can use some effective demonstration strategies, okay, so that your learners can learn from you, and then how does you can use a very good information based on your cues, okay, to provide instruction, so that your learners can learn something from you when you want to provide a very good, or when you want to plan a very good practice session. Okay, hopefully. Alright, thank you for listening.